What's going on, guys? And today, taking a look at a brand new gun that was just released. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, and we're going to go a little bit in depth and show you what they did. And that is the brand new Empire X Pro. So obviously these just came out well, they were released at World Cup, but everybody's just starting to get their first shipments of these guns. I'm sure you saw your PB friends already put some stuff up, and A&S Gear just got a bunch of theirs, and we just got ours last weekend. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what's going on with this latest iteration of the Axe. So right off the bat, just like covering the quick features and stuff like that. The frame and the trigger and how it feels is pretty much the same. It's the same magnet and micro switch trigger that you're used to on the regular Axe. That doesn't really feel any different. The grips and the back of the frame, as far as just holding it in your hand, feels pretty much the same to me. Other than that, the ASA is the same ASA that comes on the Vanquish and the new Mini GS, which is really, really nice. Definitely a lot better than the old relay system, I think. The feed neck is the same deal. It's the one that you find on the Mini GS and the Sniper, the Resurrection, Vanquish, all that kind of stuff. Definitely a better design feed neck than the old style. The back is, obviously it was a toolless removal on the Axe before, but you had to push and hold the button and twist, and pull. Now it's just got one push button on the side, same place as the Axe, but when you push it, the bolt system just pops right out, just like that. And then as far as putting it back in, you just push and it clicks into place. So if it does get stuck or it's really, really cold or something like that, right at the top of the body, there is a V-cut notched in, as well as a dip in the bolt guide. So when that happens and you push the button and it does come right out, there's a big piece to put your finger on and grab, so you can pull it out. So you can see the groove cut right there in the bolt, and then the V pattern cut right there. So it's real easy to grab and take out. It does come stock with the Empire Redline board in a slightly redesigned grip. The way the battery is in here has been, the way it fits in there anyway, has been altered, so it makes the grip a little wider this way instead of longer. I think it definitely feels a lot better in the hand. It's a lot more comfortable than the old Axe was for me. That was really my main gripe with the old version, the normal version of the Axe, is that this was just not comfortable for me. So definitely a lot better. I have no problems with the way this foregrip feels now. Eye covers you now have, little eye cover doors, so you can take those off with just a screw. And there is still, just like the Axe and the Mini, there is still a top board that the eyes are coming out of, but now it's a little tiny laser wire eye system. So instead of running laser wired eyes from the main board, they kept and retained that top board, but now they do have a wire part, so you can just take these eye covers off and bend back the eyes so you can clean them off or anything like that. To clean your eyes, you don't have to disassemble the hole marker and take out that top board, which was basically taking the marker down to every single part and piece that was in there. So that's definitely a nice feature. It comes stock with the new Empire pipe barrel. As far as the pipe barrel goes, the production pipe barrel seems to have a colored ring that goes right on the separating piece between the tip and the back. I don't know, not really sure why it's not coming like that on the Axe Pro. But it is the same pipe barrel as far as Empire is concerned. So I'm not sure with that ring how that will really work when the rest of the pipe barrel kit comes out. Whether you'll be able to interchange the backs and the tips with having that ring that's actually going to come on the production version of just the barrel. Not quite sure how that's going to work. I know as soon as I get them, I will test it out and probably show you guys what's going on with that. But other than that, two-piece pipe barrel. The redesigned milling, other than that, it seems to be all aesthetic except for some stuff on the inside that I'll show you. The redesigned milling on the body looks really nice. It's clean, it's simple, it's not overdone. I think it's definitely just a good looking marker now. I do like this trigger guard, although I find because of the way way I shoot with the insides of my fingers, a lot of the times I end up bumping into the front of the trigger guard. But I'll show you why that may not be a problem in the future a little later when we go into the gun. But other than that, I think it looks great. Nice clean lines. Looks really solid. The same drivetrain, so I'm not going to do a shooting video or anything because it shoots just like an axe. So let's go ahead and get started and show you guys some of the stuff that's going on the inside. Right off the bat, I am going to weigh it and change that to pounds. And just for internet purposes, there you go, the board's on, there is a battery in here. Alright, so the new Empire Axe Pro is coming in at 2 pounds, 3.8 ounces. Certainly not terrible, I think that's pretty average. So, not like I'd have any complaints about anything. Obviously, it's not going to be like 6 pounds or anything. Let's go ahead and put that aside. And let's start off with one more measurement with the barrel. So this is labeled on the barrel back right there, .688. I'm going to go ahead and see what the quality control is like with my digital calipers. So the barrel says 688. What does it actually come out to? 0.691 and a half. Ooh, that's a big jump. So this is almost a 692 barrel. Not reverse threaded, not an Eclipse barrel. So this is almost 692, and it says 688. I'm slightly worried about what the quality control of the actual barrel kit is going to be. I mean, that's a really big difference. You know, that's the whole reason why they make why you have barrel backs that are sized properly and freak inserts and stuff like that, because that kind of difference is going to, you know, especially if you're shooting high grade paint, that much of a difference, you know, it's 692, that's almost 0.004 of a difference in your bore size. That's a big deal, I think, especially when this thing's coming out at $700 and it finally came out with a 2-piece barrel like it should have in the first place. 0.688, it says it, but it's not. It's 0.692. I don't know, man. That's a big deal. So, I mean, I'm not going to hold that against the gun because it's not, you know, it's not the tolerances in the gun. But you know, that barrel, I don't know. That's questionable, man. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the stuff on the inside. Just the quickest thing because this is toolless. So as you can see, other than the new toolless disassembly, this is the same bolt and the spring and the bolt guide and the valve in the back. It's the same stuff as the regular Axe or the Mini GS. So I'm not really going to talk about that. It's just your standard Axe internals. So moving on besides that, let's go ahead and take these little eye covers off. And they swapped up the detents. So there's your eye covers, just a screw held in place by a little piece of foam. So you can take that screw out if you need to, but there's your eye covers. And let's see if we can just pop this out real quick. So there you are. There's your little wired laser eye right there. So you can just pop those out and clean those off. That's definitely a nice new feature. I really like that. And you can see that part that just fell out. These are the new detents they're using in the Axe Pro. They're little rubber finger nubbin detents, just like Eclipse detents, or the ones they used on the first gen Empire Vanquish. The reason that these are okay to use in the Empire Axe is the bolt is not sitting forward in the breech while the gun is at rest, so there's no problem using little finger nubbin detents. Personally, there's no problem with using these. They're super cheap, they're easy to replace. So no gripes or complaints about them using those. They're solid detents. There's no reason not to use them. Alright, so let's pop that eye back into place and just put this eye cover back on. There we go. Crank that down. Obviously I'm not going to take the other one off. There's no point. So let's move on to one of the bigger, better things that I found on the inside of this gun that I think is just a really smart decision that they went with. It's a good design. It takes care of a lot of previous problems, leaking problems that the original axe had, and just eliminates some of the hassle of working on these guns for techs like myself. And so that is, I'm going to take off the other side of the grip just so you can see it better. And let's get that. This gun is axe serial number 44. That's kind of cool. Alright, put those aside. Alright, so you can see the solenoid is right there, and the top tube, it's the same solenoid and top tube used in the used anywhere else in the other axes and the minis and the mini GSs and all that stuff. The biggest difference, as you can see right here, is this bottom part, where there used to be a bottom tube. There now is just a solid machined block of aluminum that is completely part of the frame. Sorry about my phone going off right there. So this top tube is just going into this solid block of aluminum, which is all part of the frame, which is absolutely brilliant idea. I don't know why they didn't do this in the first place. This eliminates so many problems, because now you have so many less connections and difficulties and potential problems arising. Because before you've got this top tube, so you've got the seal connection at the top and the bottom of that top tube, and then with the old part, you had an extra seal connection between the bottom tube and the bottom of the frame, and then the seal connection between the ASA and the frame. So now you just have the connection with the top tube on the top and bottom of it, and then just the seal connection with the ASA and the frame. Way better, way smarter. I don't know why they didn't do that in the first place. That eliminates so many potential leaking problems, and it eliminates maintenance. It's really, really great. And then the other thing that they finally did is they finally fixed the really terrible connection between the ASA and the frame. Before, it was two sets of set screws that screwed into each other, and they got messed up all the time, and anybody that's ever taken apart an axe or had the wobbly ASA problem knows exactly what I'm talking about. Horrendous design. They finally fixed that. Now there's just two holes on the ASA, and these two screws just go right through the bottom of the frame and screw right to the ASA. It's a million times better. And there's plenty of space to get an Allen key in there and move them back and forth, instead of these things poking up into the frame and you had to kind of wiggle your way in there in the ball end. Absolutely terrible time. So they finally fixed that, thank God. So that shouldn't be an issue anymore. So let's go ahead and I'm going to take the frame off of the body and show you guys what's going on with the trigger guard that I mentioned earlier. So as we do this, I'm just going to go ahead and throw out how to basically get at the inside of this thing. There's two screws for the frame. They're both recessed in. This one is recessed. The back one, you go through the bottom, and it's recessed into the frame. And I grabbed the wrong Allen key there. And it's recessed into the frame. And then the other one up front is actually ion style, down through the top of the breech, and screws into the bottom there. So let's go ahead and undo those two. Get that one out. And just for time constraint purposes through this video, at the end, when I'm ready to give kind of like my final thought and overview on everything, I'm just going to throw this thing back together off camera, just so you guys don't have to sit here and watch how boring it is to put this thing back together. There's no need for that. So the only thing I find is that the front kind of likes to stay sealed together, so as you unscrew this back screw with the frame, make sure to kind of constantly go to the front and just pull it off a little bit. So granted, I've only taken this thing apart twice so far now, but it is fairly simple. Alright, so we got that back screw on out the back, and it is kind of held in place by a little piece of foam that they put in there, so you don't really have to worry about it completely like falling out and disappearing. So let's go ahead and put the body aside and show you what I'm talking about with the trigger guard, and I'll also show you what's going on with this front grip. So the way to get these off, they finally got rid of those stupid two little set screws that went through the front of the trigger guard on the old axe. See, obviously now you have this big gap right here, so you can actually grip it right through here. And it used to be that the old trigger guard came right up against the foregrip of the old axe, and there was two little baby tiny set screws that kind of held in that were just pressure fit in basically to hold this via just pressure. I didn't really enjoy it, so I'm glad they went away from that and just made this a million times easier. So now you have two screws here and here. One's for the trigger guard and one is for the foregrip. So let's go ahead and undo the foregrip one. So this comes off really nice and simple as you take that out. And also, just as I'm doing this, the other brilliant thing is there's really only two different types of screws in this gun that you ever are going to need to touch to clean it. There is a third to get the this bottom plate off, but other than that, all of the screws I'm going through right here, the two body screws and these two screws are all the exact same size and length, so you can mess them up and put them back in the wrong positions, and it doesn't matter. And then the grip screws are slightly different, but that's really it. So there you go. The foregrip just has a notch cut in the front right there, so it just slides on and the screw goes down through this hole right here, and that's it. It just holds it in place. So really the only thing you got to watch out for when you're putting this back together is making sure these pins actually go up into the receiving section on the top board correctly and in line. So other than that, a really nice and easy way to finally get at this thing. So let's go ahead and before I keep putting the trigger guard off, let's go ahead and I'll show you guys what's going on the inside of this. So basically what they did is the board is pretty much the same. Obviously it's the red line, so you've got the OLED screen. But as you can see, what they did is they turned the battery sideways, and by doing that, they saved a lot of space going this way and kind of made it just a little wider up front, which to me is infinitely more comfortable to hold. It's not super long, so I end up doing, obviously it's not that big, but you don't end up doing that. You end up doing that. It's more like the feeling you get when you hold, I don't know, like a Lux or a Vanquish or something like that. I think that was just a small decision on their part that was just really, really smart. It just feels better. I think it makes it look better. The ergonomics are definitely superior by all means. And then there is a screw in the same spot, just like the old Axe foregrip, that holds the board in place inside the foregrip. And that's really about it. So that's what's going on there. Item of note with the foregrip and the door, you're going to want to put this door on the foregrip if you're taking it off. If you have the gun apart to this degree, before you completely screw the frame assembly onto the body, or if you're just changing your battery, I would loosen up the two frame screws and separate it just a little bit from the body. What I found the first time I took it apart is that I didn't do that, and what was happening is it was so close up to the front of the body. This door has a little lip up here that's supposed to just slide under this tray, and what I found is that when they weren't separated at all and the frame was completely snug up against the body, is that this lip wasn't going completely up and it was leaving the battery door hanging over a little bit, and it wasn't screwing in just right. So if you're putting it together or something like that, or you're just swapping your battery, loosen up your frame screws, or if you're taking it apart to this degree, put the battery door back on first before you put this on the body, so it lines up correctly and it's nice and flush everywhere. So with the trigger guard actually comes off. Trigger guard comes out with just this one screw, which I'll go ahead and take out now. Again, it's the same screw as the frame screws and the screw that holds in the foregrip, so don't worry if you mess them up and put them in the wrong spots. So the trigger guard just comes out just like that. It's just got a little, the frame has a little notch cut right here that this just slides into, and then there's just a screw hole through the top and it screws down. So to me, this says maybe in the future, different trigger guards, I don't know, maybe different sizes and shapes. For people who, I don't know, maybe they're going to come out with a single trigger version of this, so people playing with PSP can just sit there and just do this all day. Maybe they'll make a little tiny trigger guard for that, or maybe they'll make, maybe for people who have really, really big hands, or people like me who shoot with the insides of my fingers, because apparently I'm weird for doing that. and I end up hitting the front. Maybe they'll come out with a big extended trigger guard. I have no idea. But that's what that says to me. Why else would they do that? Nobody else makes a detachable trigger guard with one screw that looks to me like it's just ripe for coming out with different variations of it, because it's only the one screw hole and a little notch. So this says maybe aftermarket ones, maybe just different ones from Empire, who knows? But that's what that tells me. I think it's cool. If they do come out with it, good on them. If they don't, it's whatever. I guess it just makes it that much easier for cleaning or something like that, so you can get at your trigger and all that kind of good stuff. So I don't know. So that's really what's going on. As you can a little bit more clearly see the machine block in here that everything plugs into, that top tube plugs into. So at this point, that's really everything that's different. The bottom of the body, it's the same solenoid and top tube, and it's the same kind of plate with the board underneath it as normal. So at this point, I'm going to throw this all back together off camera real quick, and then we'll just kind of give my final thoughts on it. All right, so we got it all back together, and so really, all in all, I think they did a really good job with the Axe Pro. They put on everything that people were always asking for on the Axe. Better relay system, better connection with the system, better toolless bolt removal, better feed neck, better ergonomics with the grip. Obviously the OLED is. The OLED is whatever. That's the majority of the reason why it costs $700. Two-piece barrel, which the original Axe should have come with a two-piece barrel to begin with, in my eyes. There's no reason that it shouldn't have. I think that was a bit of a mess up on their part. Better ways to clean out your eyes with the little wired eyes and the eye covers. Other than that, they just did everything that everybody asked them to do, which I think is really great. It seems like Key is really listening to the consumer at that point. It just feels and looks like a better gun. Obviously, it still shoots the same as an Axe, but there's certainly no problem with that. Axes have always shot nice. They've always shot great. I was just never a big fan of them because I didn't like the ergonomics. And I think at $460, it should have come with a two-piece barrel and a better feed neck. And they're just, especially with the solenoids that went into them and the ASA connection, and wasn't the most enjoyable thing to tech. But now it's just a really solid, good gun. With regular 68, I think it's a great, perfect length. That foregrip finally feels nice. In the hands, there's a big thumb space, so you're not having to do this, which obviously was more forward on the original, but you don't feel that, that trigger guard there. It feels really good. It feels really good in the hands. It shoots fine. It shoots like an Axe. I think overall, they just did a really good job. There's not too much else to say about it. I feel like I'm just repeating myself at this point. My only obvious gripe at this point with this is what's going on with this barrel. Maybe this is just a one-off thing where this is the only one that's like this that got a little messed up on the machine. I hope it is. I hope the rest of them aren't that bad. It's a 688. It's 682 or it's 692. That's a big deal. I hope the rest of them aren't like that. I really don't. I hope this is just a one-off deal. So that's my only gripe and complaint with this gun at this point. Other than that, I have nothing bad to say about this gun anymore. I really don't. They did a phenomenal job. Hats off to Key Action Sports and the guys over at the Empire R&D team. They listened to the consumer. They gave the consumer everything they asked for. I think at $700, I think it's a solid price. I have no problem with this being sold for $700. Two-piece barrel, OLED redline, great toolless bolt removal, great trigger, great ergonomics, awesome ASA, awesome feed neck. No problems with them asking $700 for this marker. In the box, it does not come with more barrel backs. It's just the one. So obviously, when the pipe kit comes out for standard retail, you'll be able to throw those on. I think, I don't know, I'm still I'll find out as soon as I can about what's going on with the ring, if those will be compatible, or if you're going to have to buy a whole new barrel for this. I hope it's compatible. I hope you don't have to go buy a new barrel for this, because then it would just end up like the axe. But other than that, that's really all I got to wrap this Let's Look At / my thoughts up on the Empire Axe Pro. So if you guys have any more questions or comments, concerns, gripes, motes, complaints, anything like that, just throw it in the comment section below, and I'll do my best as always to get back to you guys. So there you have it, guys. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button. It really helps out the channel a lot. And that's all I got, so I will see you guys next time.